So, just bear with me. Security guy, have to enter password. This could take a long time. Here we go. No, it's good, thank you. I'm going to walk around. Right, Amir's got my... So I didn't show Amir how to turn it on. All those his experience, and he can't find the on switch. Right. So here. Oh, good. Right. Let's go. So I thought I'd end up with some about 10, 15 minutes about some of the trends that I've been lucky enough to see. And actually, some of our conversations as a panel have actually touched on these. So that means I can probably go through a little bit quicker. What I forgot to mention, and there's what I'm going to talk about. So nice and simple. Couple of slides. ISC Squared is the world's largest professional body for information security. So we've got over 120,000 people around the world, and I'm responsible for looking after about 21,000 of those in EMEA. Our job is all of that, and the real thing is about education. And my panel member, and I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name, the lady sitting next to me, and I won't even try and murder it, is dead right. Education is key. And it's not just education of us who know our information security, who know our pen testing from our patching, but it's talking to everybody, business people, our children, our families, our communities, because only if everybody has a certain level of ability and knowledge will we be able to actually solve some of the problems. That's what I do, that's the kind of badges I wear. For those of you who have never heard of them, I recommend you go to the Analogies Project website, which is full of stories about information security that are not written in information security. So there are stories about Star Wars, there are stories about Shakespeare, there are stories about the Romans and elephants. They're all stories that make significantly important points about information security, but in a way that normal people can understand. I don't think they have any contributors from the Baltics. But if you'd like to write a little story about information security, maybe based on a Baltic or an Estonian fable or fairy story, whatever it may be, come and talk to me, because we'd love to have you join us. Currently, we have something like 10 languages, 300 or 400 contributions, and they're being used by people like you around the world to help educate people in information security. It's a really good thing to be part of, and I'm really pleased that I'm part of it and that ISC Squared are also involved. So, here are the trends. There we go. You can take a photograph of this slide if you wish, and I shall quickly go through each one of those. APIs. Do you know what? I would never attack a bank. I would never attack Google. I would never attack anybody like that. I'd go and attack the joins. Where you join things together is the weakest point, both physically and electronically. If you want to disconnect a server from the internet, you pull the cable out rather than go and find a very large pair of scissors and cut the cable. So you attack the joins, you attack the boundaries. The API is the key boundary that makes most of the cloud services work that we use today. Most APIs are badly written and insecure, and they are everywhere. Get into an API, especially those that are used to pass banking information around or login information around, you can grab most people's login credentials far easier than setting up man-in-the-middle and false websites and everything else. And once you're in an API, then you can start to move around. And we're seeing attacks, and the famous one where they hacked the Jeep, the Chrysler Jeep, one of the ways in was an API. So if you're thinking about securing your business, yes, you have to think about all those wonderful things, but make sure you look after your APIs. Treat the glue with the same respect as you would treat the things you are gluing together. The next one is this. Does anyone go to Information is Beautiful? Joe does, of course. If you've never been to Information is Beautiful, it is a site full of lovely infographics. And the best one is the data breach one, which this is an image of. These are the biggest data breaches since about 2015. It's about a week old now, so probably there's more bubbles that should be on the top. I just want you, just for a second, to look at the numbers. Yahoo what's that, 500 million, 191 million, 49 million, 412 million. Somewhere in there is probably the entire population of the world, if you add up all the numbers. The number of electronic records compromised in 2 years containing personal information is equivalent to every single person in the world. 2 years. And the rate at which this is happening is getting worse. So if I was a consumer, which I am, would I really trust giving anybody my data? I know quite a few people, one of whom is in this room, who have at least 3 or 4 identities online that are slightly different, so they can camouflage their movements. I, for example, I'm one of them. Whenever I go and log in on a free Wi-Fi, I have an email address that finishes with @nowhere.com. 90% of those wireless websites accept that as a valid email address. I get my Wi-Fi access, they get an email address that has no validity, yet they will use it in their number crunching to prove they're getting things back. Garbage in, garbage out. So if customers are giving you bad data and yet you're building your businesses on data analytics, what's going to happen? Bad decisions. Bad choices. The third one is this one. I love supply chains. I think they're really cool. I could talk about supply chains until Joe's looking at me now. He knows. The modern supply chain is an awesome piece of both physical and technical engineering. The ability to move goods and services around the world in the way that it's done is truly amazing. You look at Apple, they have suppliers and companies working for them in something like 60% of the nations of the world. So when you pick up your iPhone, don't drop it, because we know it smashes. You are holding in your hand the net product of at least 60 countries. Some of that is digging stuff out of the ground. Some of that is the most advanced design, computer-aided design that's ever been done. And it all comes together to provide something that you buy or that a company can then use. How do they work? Supply chains work by moving data as well as physical stuff around. So it is no good having the best plans for the chips in the world in America if you can't shift them to the fabs in Taiwan to actually build the chip. And supply chains, because they are essential to most of the organizations that we actually work with, because supply chains deliver electricity, they deliver food and water to supermarkets and so on, they're incredibly vulnerable to bad information. And when you look at things like Industry 4.0, where everything becomes connected, all the manufacturing is wirelessly connected, all the goods and services are beaming back information to alter the manufacturing process, all it takes is an interesting problem. And this is what we're seeing more and more of, is the fact that companies now are reliant on a massive amount of data that again goes back to informing the decisions that they make. And a classic one, I have a friend who works for a very well-known car manufacturer, and they're really interested in 3D printing. They're so interested in 3D printing, they actually did a study about could they put a car factory on a ship and print, literally sail the ship around and print cars where they were most needed. Reliant on data. And one of the big problems, of course, was how on earth do you get all the data sorted out? So there's a big thing now, and we're seeing this in a lot of supply chains, is reliance on more and more data. The fourth trend, and we've touched this one, this is very European, of course, is this increasing focus on personal information and this increasing focus on protecting it. Here's the rub. Who wins? The security guy who sits in the bottom of the building in the basement, typing away, or the legal guy who's the privacy officer, who walks in wearing a sharp suit shakes the CEO's hand and goes, I'm the privacy guy, I'm really important. Don't worry about these security guys, they don't know what they're talking about. Because privacy and security are intertwined, they belong together. But if you don't get the balance right, then you can have security without privacy, and worse still, you can have privacy without security. So we're going to see a lot more focus on this. Certainly European Union, and we know I mentioned that there are two different styles in the panel. There's the US style, if you give me your data, I can use it, the European style where you can't. That is broadly replicated across the globe. So there are two camps in privacy, one that follows the European Union model, one that follows the American model. So even outside of the US, EU Privacy Shield piece, there's also that same problem or that same issue when you go out further afield. And back to the lady on the panel, yes, you're dead right, it's an artificial construct. When you go to places like India, as someone wants to explain to me, I said, Adrian, I have 3 concerns in my life. My cows, my gold, and my wife. And I think he meant them in that order. Privacy, he said, forget it. So we're going to find that we have this increasing focus maybe in certain regions, but a decreasing focus in other places. And the last one is really simple. Security actually is right in the middle of everything. The more business you do online, the more call there is to be secure. The more business you do online, the more you are reliant upon the IT systems and the devices that your business and your staff use. So you can't afford for that to go wrong. You need to protect your business, you need to protect your business secrets, you need to protect your business information. And if you don't do that right, then your business will suffer. And there is a real opportunity for us, as information security people, to become what I call a super connector. We see the business. Security is involved in every single piece of IT in a business. From the desktop at the chief executive's, on the chief executive's desk, right down to the machinery that could be churning out whatever you sell, right? We see the entire business. We see where the risks lie to that digital backbone. We see where the problems can be found, and we know how to solve some of them. So we have a real opportunity to become the people who go, in this business, here are some of the risks, and here are the team of people who need to solve it, the super connector. We can actually bring people back together and go, legal, I need you for half an hour. I need IT for a day. I need the business guy. I need the marketing guy or girl. Put them together to build the teams to solve the problems. We can also become the super communicators. And that's not talking technical. That's the ability to talk technical to the right audience and business to the right audience. That's about being able to translate the technical side to the business people and the business side to the technical people. So when a businessman says, are we secure? And Amar was making this point earlier on. And security people go, yes, we're secure. That doesn't mean anything. That really doesn't mean anything. The question should be, of course, are we prepared? As Amar rightly said. Our answer should be yes. And we're prepared because we have a policy, we have a process. We have bought technology to help us do this. When you go down to the technology guys, you go, right, guys, how's the BCP plan working? What's the backup? What's the RTO? And you can translate between those two worlds and provide the right answers and the right guidance to both of them. And that's one of the greatest and best trends that I've seen. It's the fact that we are able to do this. There's very few professions, there's very few things inside a business where you get the opportunity to see it from end to end. You get to see how it works at the lowest level. You get to talk to the highest level as well. Very few opportunities. And it's something that really we should be looking to build upon and make sure that we put security into everything the business does. And it's up to us to do it. There's a friend of mine, I think Joe knows him, I think and Jess know him. He's now a managing director at Goldman Sachs. And he started off as an IT security guy. You never make managing director, i.e. partner in Goldman Sachs, by working in the back office. It just doesn't happen. He went to every single meeting about new projects, about banking, and he walked in, he used to sit down and go, who are you? He go, I'm the guy who's here to help you. I'm the guy who's going to make this stuff secure and make sure it's in compliance. Now he's a partner at Goldman Sachs. Why? Because he did that. I'm not saying that everyone can do that, but follow the template. Get involved. Be part of the business, because that is where the success will lie. Oh, and there are two more. I lied. The first one is really simple. I used to play rugby, you can tell. The nose got broken back, so I'm quite pleased, quite straight now. Our adversaries are very good at sharing. As soon as someone finds a new exploit, it's up there on the dark web. As soon as someone finds a new way of attacking you, it appears somewhere else. They are very good at sharing, they are very good at collaborating, they're very good at cooperating. In fact, I often think if some of the people who ran criminal gangs went into business, I'd be out of a job. Because they are very, very good. They're very business astute, they know how to monetize stuff, and they know what they want and they know how to get it. We sit on our hands. Oh, we got hacked. I can't tell you what went wrong because we got hacked and I'm breaking confidentiality and I'll lose my job. Brilliant, you've just given the hackers another 10-point advantage. We have to break down the silos. We have to talk to each other. Amr mentioned there's a group of CISOs in the Middle East. They have a WhatsApp group, 200 of them, and they text each other on WhatsApp and they say, watch it, dodgy phishing email, sender is. That's real sharing, because now you're arming your colleagues, you are arming your industry against the threat. You are behaving like the criminals. And as anybody who's done any kind of decision science knows, there's of course the famous OODA loop, which is Observe, Orient, Decide, Act. Colonel John Boyd of the US Air Force created it. So every time you talk about OODA loops, just think of Top Gun, because that's actually how fighter pilots are meant to behave. Observe a situation, orient, what's going on, decide what to do, then do it. Simple rule. If you take 3 months to go around the OODA loop, and someone takes a day, they do stuff a lot quicker than you. Yes? If you can put the right information into anybody's OODA loop, it goes quicker. And if you can spin your loops as fast or faster than the adversary, then you win. So the more you share, the more you collaborate, the more you cooperate, the faster you go around those cycles, the faster the opportunities are to not get beaten, to not let the criminals get ahead of you. So as I say, break down those silos. I mentioned earlier on about being super connectors and super communicators. Knock on people's doors. Legal officers, chief finance officers, CIOs, they're not bad people really. They may wear suits and ties, but not that bad. They often need help, but sometimes they don't know who to talk to. If you knock on the door and say, hi, I'm from security, I'd like to help you, can you help me as well? Breaking down those silos. And Joe and I were talking about this as well. Join groups, form a banking security group where you meet once a month over a beer in one of the bars around this hotel. That's how, in the UK, the investment banking group started, and it's been going for 23 years. And it's a great forum to share information. Build those groups, build those communities, and also make sure you build in people who are not like you, the social bubble, right? Don't just have a room full of information security people and go, isn't it horrible? Life's terrible. Because you'll all go, yes, it is. And my boss doesn't understand me, and my technology doesn't work, and my firewall left me this morning. Bring in the lawyers and bring in the other guys and talk to them so you get to understand and know each other. And then the other one that's a big positive is this. I always call this getting the InfoSec toolbox right. We all have skills, we all have knowledge. But if all you have is a hammer, then every problem will be reduced to hitting it with a hammer. Yeah? If you have a whole range of skills and knowledge and you keep learning and you keep developing, you will have more and more tools. So when a problem turns up, you will have different ways of solving it. You will have different experiences and different knowledge. And if you can apply rich, lots of knowledge to a problem, often you can solve it better, but often you can solve it quicker. So never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop developing. So, that's almost the final slide, don't worry. It's really simple. Privacy, security, build it in. Don't repeat the same errors. How many of you know about OWASP? Right? Brilliant. Did you know the top 20 hasn't changed for 13 years? That's a shocking indictment. So don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Tell people, don't do it. Use this instead. And then, like I say, learn, grow, and talk. Because those are the things that will get us to where we want to be, and those are the trends that will really make what we do absolutely the best and the most effective. So with that, thank you very much. I'll be outside having a beer if you want to have a chat, because I can see people are looking at me. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'm more than willing to talk further. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed today. Thank you.
Absolutely. So first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who's came today. It's putting these events together, getting everyone in the room, bringing a lot of amazing speakers across is something that's not easy to do, which myself and Chris have a lot of experience now with. But I'd really like to thank everyone for coming, and hopefully you'll find it very valuable. We want to really make this something really big moving forward. We want to continue with the conference. And we really want to thank yourselves for coming, thank the speakers who's come in to share their experience and knowledge, and hopefully that now you'll be able to get some nice refreshments. Before we move on, I'd like to thank Marina. Want to come up and...
Marina, come here for a minute, please.
So a lot of people work in the background to make these things happen, So
actually it's not only Marina, it's Marina and Joseph, the program committee of this conference. Give big hand for both of them for the work they did.
So, but it does make it, I mean, if the speakers who are still here, please stand up in the room. I'd like to thank you all for coming across. Yeah, so these events don't happen without you. So I'd like everyone to give a thank you for the speakers. So. And I'd also like to thank yourselves. These events don't happen without people actually coming to hear us. So we want to make sure that you got value out of this. Please provide feedback. Please make sure that you go back to the companies that you have and let them know what the event was about and how you experienced it and the positives and negatives. Let us know so we can improve in the future. And definitely we will be here next year. So watch out for the dates. Yeah. So. Watch out for the dates. We'll let you know as soon as we fix them. So thank you. It's appreciated.
So both of them, they've really made incredible work. And let's hope they're going to be on the board again next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, good. So now comes actually the most difficult part for me. It's just saying thanks very much for being here, like what Joe already said. But now we need your help. Yeah, the problem is I have per person like 5 bottles of beer standing out here. And nobody's allowed to go back home until it's not finished. We're in Estonia, and I heard it should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good ratio, 5 bottles per person. We've also got some white wine for some people who ask for white wine. Okay, so thank you for being here. Thanks, and see you latest November for TopConf Tallinn or next year again.
We still have some t-shirts up here, so...
Grab some things here. And all the speakers are here, so please make use of the speakers. Go and talk to them. It's called Meet the Speakers and grab your beer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much. Well done. Well done.